the main difference, I think, when I started is we had these pamphlets, and you remember that. I was a Chevrolet store. We had the pamphlets for the Silverado, for the Camaro, for whatever make and model. And I remember a customer coming in, and the customer comes in and, oh, I want to buy a car. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, let's do this, right? Well, then next thing you know, he goes, well, I want a pamphlet. I'm like, all right. So I get him a pamphlet. He goes, okay, well, I'll get with you here in about a couple of months. And I was like, well, I'm already here, so why don't we just go out there? I was able to persuade him to just go out there and look at the cars. And I'll never forget, he ended up not buying. He was looking at a Chevy, those little mini Blazers. And I went back to my manager and I said, what's up with this dude? He's like, what are you talking about? I go, he's here to buy a car, but he just came and got the pamphlet. And he's like, gonna buy in 6 months, he said. And my manager, David, goes, yeah, some customers do that. A lot of customers do that. And I couldn't comprehend it because I'm an emotional buyer. If I love it, I buy stuff at the mall that I wasn't even planning on buying. So at that point, I learned that's the first time I really started learning about personalities. He goes, yeah, Daniel, sometimes customers come in and they'll get the pamphlets and then they'll come back in 6 months. Well, that being said, now they do all the research already here on their phones. Exactly. So when they come in, over 80% of buyers are ready to buy. That's the beautiful thing about it. That analytical buyer, that factual buyer that does the research, checks the torque, checks the horsepower, checks how much the leg room is from the back of the cab to the front, and everything else they measure, right? More things than I care to know. But we have buyers like that. And the beautiful thing is, instead of them coming in, getting the pamphlet, and not that they're wasting your time, but they're just going to come back in 6 more months and they're going to shop Toyota, they're going to shop Subaru and all these. They've already done the research. Yep. And we need to understand that that's a beautiful thing with these cell phones. We need to use these iPads and everything else to our advantage. And I think sometimes we don't give them that psychological training to help them to understand, because I hear so many dealerships that I still go and train at, and they're like, the terminology is they're tire kickers. We need to get that word out of our vocabulary as of yesterday, because there's no more such thing as tire kickers. They're looking for a sales professional and not a salesperson. The thing is, we hire salespeople and we never transition them from a salesperson to a sales professional. And I always say this in my trainings, that a salesperson is barely making, they're trying to just make rent and to make the mortgage, whatever it is. But a sales professional has a savings. They have a different cycle. They see themselves as a business within the business. And that's the big difference on that one, Jason.